X-Wing? Great. We're saved.
I'll look around until I found someone who laughs like you.
Something about that music just puts me in the mood to talk about Star Wars. Hey, buddy.
Yes. This is it, man. This is
ready?
This is the first movie.
Yes. So, hello, everybody. Welcome, chat. I see all of you guys in here. Thank you so much for being here. This is it. This is the beginning. This is the pillar. This is the foundation on which everything that we love about Star Wars was grown. Star Wars. It's not A New Hope. It's just Star Wars.
How many years did we call this movie Star Wars before we started calling it A New Hope?
I don't know when they actually changed the name to A New Hope, believe it or not. I don't know what year that was.
We kept calling it Star Wars forever, and then we're like, oh yeah, it's A New Hope.
Whoops.
Once they got more movies, it's like A New Hope. But forever, It's like, hey, have you seen Star Wars? We just talked. It was about The New Hope.
Well, it was a phenom, man. And I don't think George really expected everything to happen that happened. But before we knew it, C-3PO was sticking his feet in the concrete, in the Hollywood Walk of Fame with Vader and 3PO, and off to the races, man.
This movie took the world by storm.
Everybody wanted a piece. Everybody wanted a piece, and a lot of people started in the Beningi. Everybody wanted a piece. A lot of people started coming after George. They had like shows that were going on in the UK, and they were like, "You're stealing our ideas," and all these different things with ships and stuff like that. I mean, there's so much to talk about with this movie, from the sound design to the prop building, ILM, everything that George did, the locations that they shot, and then the movie itself.
You remember the toys though? Like, they weren't ready because they didn't think it was going to be this big of a hit. So for Christmas, kids got a certificate saying your toys are coming.
Yep.
So they opened it up on Christmas with a certificate saying your Star Wars toys are on the way.
Yeah, those things are ridiculously expensive as well. So if you want one, the coupon, if you can get one in mint condition, it's about $10,000 for one of those Kenner mail-in coupons. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So yeah, that was, I mean, look, great play by George too, because George is like, I don't want anything. I just want the toy money. The toys just like
he used that. I remember them talking about the toy money being a big reason why they were able to do Empire.
Yeah.
Funding and making that so much better. That's wild, man. You talk about a fantasy film, something we've never seen before, with the type of special effects that moviegoers haven't really seen. These practical effects where they build giant models, and like even
lightsabers and blue screens and dogfights in space.
Even seeing, the trench run of the Death Star, it's like,
yeah,
they filmed that outside, and George, I remember
on the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah, I remember George talking. He's like, they bought thousands of plastic models and turned them upside down, inside out, or and just put them together.
Yeah,
to make the Death Star. That's so crazy, bro.
Yeah, kit bashing was insane. The amount of stuff that they just pulled from the real world and made it into Star Wars is insane. And that's why, ILM will forever be my most favoriteest thing in the world, just because of the ingenuity that those guys had in the prop department, the model department, making this stuff. And when you look at it on screen, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That would work. that could be something. Just their ability to do that is still to this day awe-inspiring, and I love going back and watching them. They're like, well, we had a model shop, you know, a block down the road, and we basically just bought the model shop.
Also, George was fighting with Hollywood at the time because they were demanding. He wanted to start his movie with no credits. He wanted the movie to start. And Hollywood was like, Got
to do those pre-rolls, baby.
You got to do it this way. You got to do it this way. You got to have this group involved, and you got to have this one. And George was like, all right, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna be a part of it. And they were like, what?
You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't. That's unheard of. No one's ever broke the union. No one's ever become a rebel and rebelled against Hollywood.
Yeah.
And George was like, I'm gonna do it.
And that was something that was just so inherently part of Star Wars, is that it was a rebellion against Hollywood. It was a rebellion against the norms. It was a total move against what Hollywood wanted George to do. He said, screw you to the suits. I'm going to make the movie I want to make. And that's so ingrained in what Star Wars is. I love it.
It's freaking awesome, man.
But there was a movie.
Has a magic lost. Anyway, we're going to stay positive.
Yes, we're going to stay positive. I don't mind touching on that towards the end there, just for this movie, because I feel like it's so important to talk about as what Star Wars is and the soul of Star Wars.
I read a couple books, and the last Star Wars book I read about all that was Anthony Daniels, the C-3PO book. And
he wasn't happy.
No, he was every time they put that costume on, it had to stay on. Yeah. So he could never sit down. So he was standing for hours, and then they had like a special table where he could kind of lean back.
Oof.
But people forgot that he was there.
What was that book? Was it Becoming 3PO?
Yeah, something
like that.
Something stupid like that. But the funny thing was he talked about Obi-Wan Guinness, and
he didn't like that movie.
What's that?
Guinness didn't like that movie.
He did it.
Yeah.
He got paid a lot.
Yeah.
And then after Star Wars came out, he was very bitter, but he had a contract. He had to do all three.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very bitter. Anthony Daniels tells a story of how a kid ran up to Alec and a kid was like, sir, Obi-Wan, can I get your autograph? I've seen this movie 6 times. And they said that he just looked at him and said, why would you waste your life like that? And walked away. Could you imagine Obi-Wan Kenobi crushing your whole... Look at young X-Wing. It's Obi-Wan. I say this movie, Star Wars is everything to me. Why would you waste your life with that kid? And then just keep...
Emotional damage.
What's up, everybody? I want to say hi to the chat. Sorry,
Yep.
usually grab you guys a little sooner. I see everybody in here. I'm not going to go through every name because, oh my god, we already got 47 people in here. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that you guys are as stoked on this as we are.
I think so. You got a super chat too.
Yeah, I got to get through that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, my brain's a little fried tonight, so if I'm not quick on the comments, I'm not quick on the responses, I apologize.
We both have had stressful weeks. So
yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to this.
It's been an interesting week. So King's Advisors with a whopping 20. What's up, buddy? Happen to win a nice game of Pazak. So here's a cut. Oh, you know I like that. Star Wars at its purest. Best moment is Luke staring at the twin suns. Really let us know this was not just another story. Miniatures and mats are incredible. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the impact. We're going to talk about all that stuff. But let's start with the movie. Opening scene. Possibly the most iconic ever.
The little ship.
The blockade runner.
Didn't really know how to do lasers, so we had a lot of flashes. And then you saw the freaking Star Destroyer. Like, it just looked like the front of the Star Destroyer was the only part shooting the ship. Boop,
yeah.
Boop, boop. You know?
Yeah, that was incredible.
Yes, you're just like, what the heck is this?
Yeah. Again, like I can't get over the fact that everything that you see there, all of the models, everything that you see, somebody sat there and kit bashed that thing together. kit bashing being when you take a bunch of different models and you just put stuff together and you're like, sure, that'll work. That was a friggin' Star Destroyer, and it was so big. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. Jay says, what about the scroll? That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. John Williams score. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
Star Wars.
They didn't
Dun,
pull
dun,
any
dun.
punches at the beginning.
Episode 4. Dun, 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 dun. So cool, man.
Yeah, John Williams didn't pull any punches with that. I mean, right off the bat, you just get that massive, massive orchestral hit, and you're like, oh, this is an epic story. Let's go. Okay.
It kind of set the tone. Then we get the Alderaan ship, and and
that's how the Millennium Falcon started.
How?
That's what the Falcon was supposed to look like, was the blockade runner.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, it looked like a candlestick with the Falcon at the end of it. And then, like I was saying, that there was a show going on in London, and they said you stole that idea because that's what the Falcon looked like. So they just squished it, turned it into the blockade runner, and then George was like eating a hamburger or something like that, and he stuck 2 plates together, and he's like, "Oh, we'll just turn the Millennium Falcon into that."
They didn't say episode 4 in the original. People are telling me in the chat. I swear they said episode 4
in the opening crawl. I think.
Yeah. Or did they just say Star Wars? And then they added episode 4 later.
In the original theatrical release?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Some people are saying they didn't say episode 4 in it.
I wasn't alive.
I never saw it in the theater. I saw it on I saw the originals in the theater on re-releases. So,
yeah,
I've
never gotten to see it in the theater.
Yeah. I only saw it not in the original. Okay. They added it later. All right. Well, there you have it. I must have saw it. Well, when I saw it in the theater, it was when George added stuff he didn't need to add.
Edition. Yeah.
It had some cool moments. Some of the special, like the explosion was better on the Death Star. Some of
the Falcon rising up out of the docking bay looked really good. But a lot of people were really, really mad about it, dude. I mean, they added in the and it's so funny too, because if you haven't, go back way back in time on X-Wing, I had Mark Anthony Austin, the guy who played Boba Fett in the Specialized Edition, but also worked at ILM and made the Rontos. Added in some dewbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy talking about the backlash that people had.
Well, it looked stupid.
Don't let me hear you say that, man. That was the only A New Hope I knew for a long time.
I know, but the added stuff kind of looked weird. In Tatooine, and then they added the Jabba the Hutt scene.
Where he steps over the tail.
Yeah, I mean, we all understand that was the best they could do. So it was like I didn't mind them adding the Jabba the Hutt scene. I thought that was kind of funny. And but yeah, some of the dewbacks and stuff look kind of dumb.
I
did like the explosions. Cloud City looked so much better because they added like atmosphere and like stuff like that in the back.
Cloud City.
Not Cloud. I'm talking about like when he did all the movies, and they re-released them. So it's like those are the things that I like.
I do that all the time.
That was an Empire, but so the movie starts, and then we've got the rebel troops setting up shop, and for the first time, we actually see stormtroopers cutting open the door and actually shooting someone.
Yeah, they actually hit someone.
How the times have changed.
That Tantive scene, they sold a playset for it. And I just bought like 8 Rebel Troopers and 8 Stormtroopers. Did you see the little Hoth one I did with the lasers and stuff? I'm doing the Tantive hallway now. And I'm going to do the lasers with the Rebel Troopers on one side and the Stormtroopers on the other. That's so awesome. Iconic, dude.
And then you see Darth Vader for the first time, and you just don't know.
Big ass David Prowse coming in.
The funny thing is now when you go back and you watch the scenes of his voice, it sounds so funny.
Oh, you're talking about when it's not
When he's just talking through the mask.
Yeah. You're a spy and a traitor.
Yeah. and like, so George already had a vision he's gonna redub a voiceover, but even that was just something. It was like James Earl Jones, man. That was like, it was so cool.
Yeah.
The way he sets up the story is like you have no idea what the heck is going on. So it's like big ship. You got Vader walking in. You got two people shooting at each other. There's a lady with like cinnamon rolls on her head.
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, she sticks something in a droid, and C-3PO's talking, and it's like, what is all this stuff? So they end up going into a pod in a launch
pod. Yeah.
And then they show the Emperor, and he's like,
hold on. I feel like we lost so much already.
Go ahead.
Stuff that we got to talk about. I mean, just in that opening scene alone. So we're like, okay, who the hell is this guy in all black? But just the juxtaposition of the all white Tantive against the all black of Darth Vader. That's like the most simple way to set up a story. Like, we know who the good and the bad guys are. We know exactly who they are. You know what I mean? And then beyond that, you get Vader straight up like murking Captain Antilles. He picks him up off the ground and he's choking
That happens
him.
later, right? Don't they escape the escape pod first? And then he's just like, that's what I was saying. Like, then
I need to go back and rewatch New Hope. I don't know the order on the Tantive. 3PO walking, not you. 3PO and R2 walking. There's something about the reactor, and then they break down the door, start fighting.
Because she hides.
She puts the message in R2, hides, and then the troopers come in and they stun her with the blue ring.
That was the first time you see a stun.
Yeah.
Didn't really see much of that after that.
I still don't know how Ben Burtt made that sound. I know like the blaster. Yeah, the blaster was him hitting the arresting wire for a power pole, but I don't know what that noise came from.
It was like, she'll be all right. Tell Lord Vader we got another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
rolling new. Sorry, I don't know how to do this. Like, how are you supposed to space these? I don't know. I'm a newbie. Rolling new for $9.99. Han shot first. However, all the pilots saying their call signs was gold. Y'all rock.
We're gonna get
Don't worry.
there.
We're gonna talk about that.
That was so epic. So you got C-3PO going, the damages look so bad from up here, and then the Emperor like, hold your fire. There's no life forms on there.
I love that in the Family Guy one when they're like, what are we paying by the laser now?
Yeah. I know when you think about it now, it's like they should have just blew them all up, but dude, but they set the tone for freaking Vader like that, like how it should be done. You could see him like holding the guy up by his throat. He's like, if this is a command ship, where is the ambassador? And then just throws him,
Yeets him against the wall.
Oh, man, he had the voice. We didn't understand why we were hearing the scuba breathing. We didn't know, like, what was going on. He was, like, a foot taller than everyone in every scene.
Yeah.
Like, purposely. So all the officers and troopers and everyone had to look up to him. He had a cape. Dude.
A cape. I don't know how he was able to basically make like the most campy, ridiculous fantasy stuff seem totally sketchy. Like, who wears a cape? But on Vader, you're just like, oh shit, he's got a cape.
Yes, dude.
Don't mess with that guy.
Cape, bro. Capes.
So ridiculous.
Superman, Batman, they all wore capes.
Yeah.
It's like, and Darth Vader wore a freaking cape. They're like, put a cape on him. Put a freaking cape on him.
We didn't know he was the Dark Knight, right? In mythology, he was the Black Knight. Like, who is this guy? God damn, he's imposing. David Prowse is like 7'9", and then he's wearing that big old armor. And you're like, why are these dudes running around in all white armor? Just the sound of the blasters it just seems like something that would work. I think, like, honestly, oh god, I don't even know where to go, dude. My brain's just everywhere.
Well, it was like, then he got the princess, and one of the officers like, there was an escape pod that had no life forms that had jettisoned early. He's like, they must have hit the plans in the escape pod. Let's go.
Yeah.
So you're
Down
just
to
kind of like
Tatooine.
at this point, you're like, what the freak? It's so good because Lucas did the perfect thing. He drew us in to keep watching. Where it's like, who's that guy? Wait, plans? Wait, there's droids that talk. Wait, where are they going? Like, why do they want him dead? Who's this Vader guy? Like, what is happening here? I gotta watch more. And that is top 10 storytelling, man. That is top 10. Especially when you're introducing something new.
Yeah.
You know, they even say that about YouTube. It's like if you can hook people in the first 30 seconds of a 10-minute video, they'll watch the whole thing. And so Lucas hooked us in like big time. So then, you know, we get to Tatooine, and the complaining C3PO is mad.
Wouldn't you be, bro? Tunisia's hot as hell.
Yeah, I'm just saying. He's like, I'm not going that way. It's much too rocky.
Yeah.
He's like, you'll be deactivated for sure if you go that way. Go ahead. He kicks him.
Yeah. And then we get like these two droids walking through the desert, and all of a sudden there's this giant, huge snake skeleton laying in the background. You're like, oh shit, this isn't Nevada. What is that? What is that giant snake?
And he's like, that little R2 unit tricked me. It's so cool how important the droids were in the, you know, like in this film. So then R2D2 of course goes to the Rocky and gets attacked by the Jawas, and we see him get shot in that iconic meme now. And all the little blue electricity, you know, that wraps around.
That little Jawa shotgun. I always thought that was just such the cool, like the first alternative life form really you get introduced to is this weird thing in a little brown robe with two glowing yellow eyes, and it's got a taser shotgun.
Like, and their voice were weird. Yeah. They kept saying Utadi. That means everything.
Yeah, that's the whole language. And
yeah, we saw that. But we're talking about A New Hope.
Oh, yeah. No, I actually haven't even heard about that.
He just said, he came out and said Star Wars is losing all their mystery and fun by making spin-off shows of movies.
Based Liam Neeson.
Yeah, he came out. It's on the Variety. He came out in Variety and was just like, they asked him, like, you going back to Star Wars? Like they've lost their magic, man.
Oh,
by doing spin-offs after spin-offs. So
that hurts. That hurts, but he's not wrong. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah. No, we all
R2 gets rocked.
And then C3PO sees a flashing droid, and he's like, over here, hey. Over here. And it's the Jawas. So then you get introduced to like this whole like droid sensation, you know, and R2D2 and C3PO are back together again. And we don't really know what's going on. And then we get our first introduction to Luke Skywalker.
Did you hear the story about what happened with that sandcrawler?
No. Is it still out there?
No, I doubt it. I doubt that would have been,
because you know his home is still out there.
You can stay. It's like $2 a night to stay there, but they're like, you probably shouldn't.
It's pretty bad.
But no, so George built this big sandcrawler, and I think it was Gaddafi. Didn't know what it was, and I was like, we see a military weapon on the border. If it's not removed, we'll take action. Almost started a freaking war over the sandcrawler.
Where did they film that at?
It's in Tunisia.
That's where the Luke's house is.
Mm-hmm.
They came back to film for Rise of Skywalker. So it's still there. I'm just saying, it's like it's still there. Kind of wild.
So yeah, we see young, bright-eyed Luke Skywalker,
and then his theme hits. Luke.
That's iconic. That's burned into my brain. Luke.
Exactly. I was going into town to pick up some power converters. You can waste time with your friends when your work is done.
Tashi Station, man. That was.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they'd have left that scene in there because there's a really cool moment where
He
Luke's
talks
got
to
his.
Biggs, right?
He talks to Biggs,
Yeah.
and then he pulls out his binoculars and you see the space battle going on above Tatooine, which I thought was really cool. They should have done that because, look, I'm not going to bag on George. It's a perfect movie.
Yeah. You could waste time with your friends. So already, Uncle Owen's a jerk. We don't like him, you know. And we get introduced to blue milk and whatever they're cooking in there.
I love how she was dressed too. Like Amperu was like straight up Midwestern mom.
Yeah.
She had like the floral button down with the denim jacket. Like that's very familiar.
Oh, he can't stay here forever. Most of his friends have gone.
Yeah.
I'll make it up to him next year. Sorry, I know all the lines.
He's got too much of his father in him.
Yeah, next year. So then the Jawas show up, and Amperu says, if you get a protocol droid, make sure he speaks Bachi. So they show the droids, and they pick Red 5, I guess. And C-3PO sells himself pretty well. He's like, yeah, I can work on your farm. I can do this. He's like, do you speak Bachi? Of course. 8 million forms of communication. All right. I'll take him. And then our Red 5
R5 blows his motivator.
blows up. It's kind of a unique scene. He's like going along, and then like the top just a metal piece just kind of pops up with smoke, like those effects.
What are you trying to sell me here, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, what's going on here? Yeah, what are you trying to push on us? And then C-3PO's like, yeah, get my friend, get R2-D2. So now you have this whole, you're like, what is going on here? And then Luke,
when a plan comes together.
then you see Luke at dinner saying, I think these new droids are going to work out. I'd like to join the Academy. What's the Academy all about?
It's the Imperial Academy, bro.
Imagine if they had let him join the Academy.
That'd be a good what if, man.
You know what I mean? He would have been like one of the best star pilots. Oof.
Is this true?
I never heard that.
A force sensitive droid? Man, that's too far down that line. R5. It makes sense why he came back. Now we're going to get, instead of the Skywalker saga, we're going to get the R5 saga. Back in Mando, flying with Mando. He's going to be the Mandalorian in the end of all of this.
Who?
R5.
Oh, yeah, okay. Works for me.
Yeah.
Breezy says, look it up, dude. It's true. I will, because I've never heard that either. And if it's true, it is. It is in Legends. Look at that.
I believe it. They did some crazy stuff in
They sure did.
the EU.
But the EU doesn't matter anymore, sadly.
No, it's gone.
So now we have Luke, and C-3PO's like, man, this oil bath is going to feel so good. You see Luke playing with his little toy.
Yeah,
the Kenobi series gives him.
They didn't need to do that.
No, they didn't. That was awful. And Luke's cleaning up R2-D2, and he's like, it's got something a little stuck here. And then it starts to all come together. He activates, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Dude, those special effects for that time were like every scene, people were blown away.
Yeah.
And then when you like hear like the behind the scenes stuff, like even in like Luke's speeder, they put Vaseline on. Did you hear this?
No.
All right, because his speeder was on wheels when it was going through the desert, to make it look like it was floating, someone on every frame put a dab of Vaseline on the film to give it a smudged look.
Really? I always thought they hung little mirrors underneath it.
They filmed it with the wheels and they put Vaseline on it until he was able to fix it in the newer editions.
Damn. That's dedicated. Dude, George made them do the craziest
That's
stuff.
what I'm saying. Like, that's so cool.
Vaseline on every frame, and he's shooting at 25 frames.
Ah, yes. Yeah, John
Or
agrees.
Vaseline
John
on the
knows.
camera. Vaseline on the camera. On the
Vaseline on the lens to blur out the wheels.
the lens. Yeah, okay, the lens. I was like, damn, on every negative.
Are
like,
you
that
sure? I thought it
sucks.
was on the frame. I thought it
That's
was on the
smart
frame.
though. I mean, the stuff that they were able to do just to
Either way,
to
they
make it
use
look
Vaseline.
realistic.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We get it. He
I
must
was
have a
right.
deal with Vaseline or something. Yeah, and then they had the big rig. Well, I guess we'll get to that part when we get there.
So then we've got Princess Leia and her message, and he's like, play back the entire message. He's like, well, if you take off the, I guess the
Restraining bolt.
Yeah, the restraining bolt. He could play it.
Yeah.
So he takes it off, and R2D2 shuts down, and C3PO kicks him. This is your new master now. He's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, it's all right. You know. Then R2D2 sneaks out at night.
What if he never pulled off that restraining bolt?
Yeah. I think they would have eventually, though.
How did R2 get out of there? Clearly it's stairs. It must be those rocket boosters that we saw in the prequels. It took off.
Why was C3PO like hiding in the garage? You know, Luke is down there like, phew, and then C3PO's like, I'm in the dark.
Yeah.
I got caught doing something I shouldn't be doing.
What are you doing in there, 3PO?
He's like, I tried to stop him, but he wouldn't listen to me. They're like, wait, but why are you in the dark?
And then we get the infamous Topps 3PO card from. You got to don't you have 3 of those? Don't you?
I showed it off last time. Yeah.
Was it? Did we do it on stream here?
Yeah.
Oh. I want one. Will you send me one?
Yeah. If I find the extra ones, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Nice.
So yeah.
Okay. Huh?
Yeah. A piece of his uniform was sticking out in the wrong place.
Uniform, certainly a word for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Breezy's basically. So we get the Topps card. We don't know what he was doing in the dark there in the garage, but we got to go find R2, right?
Gotta go. So he leaves early, and that's the last we see of Uncle Owen and Aunt Veru. Luke! I like how they always put like a
nice inflection on the second Luke.
Luke! Have you seen Luke? He said he was going off early. Well, you better get those droids ready or there'll be hell to pay.
Does he say hell in that one?
Yeah.
I thought the first hell was in Empire. When Han's like, well, then you'll see me in hell. When he's taking off on the Tauntaun. I don't know. Gonna have to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, Obi-Wan cursed too. He goes, following Obi-Wan on some damn fool adventure.
That's not a damned fool adventure.
That's what he said. Yes, his line.
It's not a curse, though.
Damn is considered a curse word by movie standards.
Wow. I am unsheltered.
Yeah. Shame on you.
Okay, so he takes off. How do you think that R2 knew where Obi-Wan was supposed to be at?
Apparently, probably his like scanner started working, and he was probably heading towards any type of life form or maybe like a town. Something. I'm sure he had GPS. I'm sure he had something.
Some
You know.
R2 GP.
Yeah, he had to go somewhere. I'm sure he had something. He probably was going like to Mos Eisley or something like that. You know?
Moist Eisley?
Yeah.
Did he know in the prequels where he was going? I'm trying to think of where he would have known that Kenobi was there. I guess Leia would have told him, but
Leia didn't really know. Maybe.
Apparently she did.
Well, according to the Kenobi series, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she knew. I get that's speculation.
Anyway, he was heading out to go find him.
Mm-hmm.
And they picked up the life form. The speeder shows up. It's a cool thing about the speeder. If you look at that scene when they stop, there's a giant rock next to the speeder to hide the wheel.
That's convenient.
That they put up where he parked next to. And the weird thing is R2 is walking like stiff leg.
Yeah. That's poor Kenny Baker just roasting in the Tunisian sun.
He's just like, why is he walking stiff leg like that?
I think the wheels work sometimes, and then other times they didn't, and they're like, well, just kind of, I don't know, shuffle.
Yeah, just go back and forth. He's like, well, I got to get you back. And then all of a sudden, there's some creatures approaching from the northeast. And Luke is like,
noise.
ooh, sand people. They're the worst. And he grabs this giant, super long sniper gun.
A cycler rifle.
Yeah. He's like, come on, let's have a look. I'm adventurous. I'm a young lad.
Gets his ass beat.
Yeah. Looks at him through the binoculars, and he's like, yep, sand people, all right, but I don't see any. And then we don't really see the fight that happens. Luke must have got knocked in the head.
Yeah, he gets beat, but those, I mean, that's the gaffy stick. I feel like it's been so disrespected. The gaffy stick was so sketchy, man. It's like a welded steel spike with a pineapple club on the end of it. It's scary, man.
I think so.
Bro, the dog. You come back in here after all this time, and that's all you gotta say? What are you doing, man? Yeah, so he gets knocked out, and then we hear what's originally described as the crate dragon scream. It's supposed to be the noise a crate dragon makes, and it just sounds like something out of Willy Wonka.
Yeah. And at this point in the movie, you're still like, you don't know what's going on. You don't know who these people are. Why are their plans? What does the princess want? Who the heck is Kenobi? Who's this Luke kid? Like, what is happening? Like, what's going on? You're still like lost. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
So then, is Luke okay? Like, he touches him. Yeah. He uses his pronouns. Yeah, that's me. C-3PO's missing an arm somehow while R2-D2's hiding in a cave, making noises. Woo, woo.
Why'd you have to sprinkle that one in there? Of course I know him. He's me.
Yeah, Ben takes office. Does it perfectly. The Jedi removing the hood. Oh, he does it perfectly.
Hello there.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. He's like, he's this droid, man. He's looking for old Ben Kenobi. Oh, no. He says he's looking for an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Is he a relative of yours? He's like,
yeah.
And then the music hits. No. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's a name I've not heard in a long, long time.
Oh, so you know him then? Of course I know him. He's me.
He's they. Poor Obi-Wan.
He goes, I guess this droid belongs to you. I never remember owning a droid. So they go
R2
back to
press too. Didn't he seem like he was upset?
A little bit.
I don't seem to remember owning a droid.
They go back to Obi-Wan's crib, and now he's made some upgrades since the last time we saw him on Tatooine from the Kenobi series, sleeping in a cave. He's got like a nice house.
Season 2, bro.
He's got stuff, man. He's got, he's got a couch. He's got a lounge. He's doing well. Work must be good.
The Kenobi book was so much better at explaining how all this happened. Oh, it drives me nuts. Can't go down that.
So then they're like, all right, we'll play this message. And then like you start to hear stuff. You're like, the Clone Wars, my father, I need your help. I need you to get these plans to Alderaan. And Obi-Wan's just like, you must go with me to Alderaan.
Yeah, I love how he just flips the like old ass dude. He's like, looks like we're going. You're coming.
And then, but now that the funny thing is, now that we've seen like now that we're like 6 movies of Star Wars, comic books, all this stuff, it's like, didn't he like do the, your father wanted you to have this when you're a little older. Here you go, have a lightsaber.
He looked straight down the barrel of it.
I'm just saying, it's like that was a little quick. And then Luke's like, tell me about my father.
He's been waiting on this, though. That's the thing. Like, we don't know it at the time, but Kenobi's been holding out for this for a hot minute. And he's like, oh, I guess it's go time. Here's the lightsaber.
Yeah, and he turns it on. The first time we see a lightsaber.
Yeah. That's so cool, man.
But why would they give it to him? Why would he give it to him so early, though, man? It's like he doesn't know how to use it. He just kind of clips on his belt like, thanks.
Yeah, I might have given him a little instruction. But...
Yeah.
By the way, if you touch anything with this, it's gone. It's dead.
A young pupil of mine, Darth Vader, betrayed and murdered your father.
The lies.
Shh.
Kenobi's
Kind of a
liar,
lie.
man. That's from a certain point of view.
He
I don't know.
planted the seeds into Luke at the beginning.
There's so much in that one scene that encapsulates so much of what Star Wars is. And that's what's so awesome is going back to that scene now after everything that we have, seeing the Clone Wars, seeing what we saw in Revenge of the Sith, everything that goes along with that just makes that, again, when you make Star Wars projects, you should add to what's already there, not detract from it or change it.
That's your uncle talking. Daisy Blossom said, when Luke turned on the lightsaber, I wanted one ever since. You and me, probably 10 million other people. Where do I get one of those?
Yeah. Everybody wanted a lightsaber. And it was so cool how they did it too. They just took like a piece of metal with a motor, shined a bright light at it, and then spun the piece of metal.
So yeah, man, that was just like that's pretty heavy, man. Like right there. It's just like, oh, hey, by the way, your father wanted you to have this. He was a pilot. He was murdered by Darth Vader. And by the way, I need you to come to Alderaan with me.
Yeah.
And
just
Luke's
talk about like a massive life dump on you. Like, by the way, your entire life is a complete lie.
Yeah. Your father was murdered. He was the best starfighter. He was a pupil of mine. Here's a lightsaber that he had. He almost killed me with it, by the way. And he murdered thousands of children with this. But here, you can have it.
Conveniently not buried out front.
And then it begins. It's like they start to head back. He's like, I can't get involved. I got work to do. That's
What's
your
with the
uncle
flip the
talk.
script, man. Yeah, I think it was kind of cool because it just like it showed how like every young punk kid wants to get out into the world and do something crazy, and then when they're confronted by it, they're like, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. I've got to stay here. We've got to work on these moisture vaporators.
I will say this: the fact that Luke wasn't abandoning his only father figure and mother that he knew shows the kind of character that he had.
Yeah.
So he was like, a lot of times nowadays in movies, young punks are portrayed like, yeah, screw them, screw my family. I'm just gonna leave. Like I don't care what happens to them. I'm going on an adventure. He was I got work to do. This is what I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. And it just showed like good character that even though he probably was aggravated with his aunt and uncle, he was
He's just a farm boy, man.
But he was doing the right thing. It's like he wasn't like, yeah, let's go. I got my lightsaber now. Let's just screw them. Let's just leave. A lot of movies today now, it's like that's how it is. It's like I want to run away from my responsibilities and go on an adventure. Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, let's run away. Let's go. But not Luke. Luke was like, I got to do the right thing here. So then they get back in their speeder and they find the Jawas. But before you get to that, hit that $9.99 super chat.
I love how Jay just runs the streams. It's nice. I'm
just helping. You can tell me to slow down.
No, I appreciate it. It's great. I don't have to think. Donna Hergenrether with a $9.99. Thanks for the stream. In 77, my world was rocked. Saw it at the drive-in. Nice. The next day, my father whittled me and sister lightsabers.
Wow.
That's so bad. You never hear about dudes whittling anymore. Whittling is a lost art. I made my family call me Lucy Skywalker.
I love it.
That's awesome. See, and
wait, hold on. You mean you didn't need to see a female representation to enjoy
you can just
Star
have
Wars?
Heroes. Gender's just a construct, man.
I freaking love it because all of us were like that. Didn't matter your race, your skin tone, your gender. People wanted to be a character. Yeah, people want to be a hero.
Yep.
It's freaking awesome.
Thank you, Donna Hergenrether. And I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. I'm enjoying it as well. So yeah, we find the Jawas and the Sandcrawler, and Obi-Wan makes possibly the dumbest line in Star Wars of all times.
Which is?
Accuracy like this.
Yeah, I get it. I get the joke. Those could only be done by Imperial, Well, he's like, and then Luke's like, wait, if they trace the droids to the Jawas, then they might have traced them back home. And he's like, and here's Obi-Wan again. Wait, Luke, it's
hold
too
up.
dangerous.
Don't go. Hold up.
You can't help them, Luke. You can't. It's over.
And we get the graphic, dude. We get the graphic burning bodies. Have you heard the theory that it was Boba Fett that did that?
I have heard that. Yeah.
I kind of like it.
He set them on fire instead of like blaster bolts.
Yeah. Because then, Vader later on is like, no disintegrations.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But yeah, because like blaster fire doesn't really set you on fire. The bolt would go through you eventually, right? If you got hit with it.
A small fire. Yeah. Like we've seen
Yeah,
it before.
man,
Like a
I
little
guess.
piece of clothing kind of on fire a little bit, but definitely not like what
They
we
could
saw.
have had a flamethrower trooper there too.
Incinerator trooper. Yeah, I've heard that before.
That was like just burn up the villages and stuff. So yeah, we get the burnt skeletons, and then Luke is like,
he's phased for like a second.
well, he's like, what am I supposed to do?
He just looks down like, damn, I messed up.
He goes back and he's just like, I'm gonna go with you to Alderaan.
Yep.
And they're like burning all the Jawas at this moment.
Obi-Wan's just like, sick. All right, let's go.
Yeah. So they're like, well, we got to get out of here. He's like, you got to sell your speeder. I ain't coming back here. I don't care.
Damn this hick town. Okay, you got to take
we
over
get
for
our
a second.
first.
My half kidney.
Yeah, go ahead. Then we head into Tatooine, where we get our first taste of racism. We don't want your kind here. You're droids. I will say this though, when they got into Tatooine, we got to see the power of the Force, the mind, and Luke sells his speeder really quick. Bo and Debbie says, did Vader order the death of Owen and Beru, or did he find out about it? That is an excellent question. I think his orders were to get the droids, and anything that stood in your way, just destroy them. So, because Tatooine was outside of the Empire didn't really control Tatooine. That was like a pirate scoundrel headquarters. It was like they didn't have any jurisdiction. Neither did the Republic. They were kind of like left that sand planet alone. Like people could go there to hide. So OG says, love you, Jay. Thank you. Yeah, that's where the scum and villainy stayed. So the Empire just kind of showed up and just did whatever. They didn't really have... We were talking about the Empire didn't really own Tatooine. It was just kind of like a safe haven for violent scoundrels.
Yeah.
But they showed up looking for people all the time. But the Republic didn't really have power. That's why Republic credits weren't welcome there so much and things like that. But they get into
Outer Rim.
Yeah, they get into Tatooine. Obi-Wan, you see the quick little hand gesture, like he's not the droid you're looking for. Move along. And then Luke's like, what happened back there? I thought we were dead.
First use of the Force.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess I don't know. Maybe Vader. Maybe.
I think we'll get there. He uses that. Yeah, he uses his little mind read. Luke sells his speeder in record time. He didn't get enough. And Obi-Wan's like, it's good enough. And then we get our first taste of racism. Hey, they're not welcome here. You're droids. Get them out of here.
You were like, what? What did I not see? The droidism. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we go back to the Death Star where Darth Vader is in a staff meeting and he loses his stuff at the one employee during a staff meeting. You know,
what does he say?
He's like, your dedication to your ancient religion hasn't drummed up the Death Star plans or anything like that. And Vader's like, I find your lack of faith disturbing. Oh, the line, man. James Earl Jones delivered that. Oh, it's like perfect.
So sketchy, dude. Can you imagine running into that guy in real life? Honestly, though, like
Vader?
if you're in the Star Wars universe and you see this dude that's like 6'5", carries a
I'm pretty
lightsaber,
sure,
and can
like
use the Force.
throughout the galaxy, there, the Star Wars galaxy, rumors about him and fear, man.
Oh yeah, everybody knew who
Freaking
Vader was.
fear. They saw him. It was like somebody's gonna die, and it might be me. So I tried to answer that already. So
Did Vader order the deaths of Owen and Beru, or did he find out about it? I don't think he was directly involved with that. I mean, I feel like he would have.
yeah, I was like,
If
his
he'd have
order
heard
was
Owen and
to get
Beru,
the
he would have
droid.
known exactly what was going on.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean? He knows them.
Yeah,
He's hung out there before.
that is true. But yeah, so it's like the staff meeting is just like this guy like talks smack to Vader. And then you have like Tarkin, who's like, enough. This bickering is pointless. And Vader's like, all right, as you know, whatever you say. So
Yeah.
now you're kind of like seeing rank, of people.
That was the cool part, is like you have this rabid war dog, but then the decorum of the Empire basically dictates what he's able to do. You see, he's more of like a tool and a weapon than like a lord or leader.
Right. And yeah, the guy disrespects. So there's always that one idiot in a staff meeting that you just want to go,
I wish I could
"Shut
do that.
up."
I squish you like a grape.
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of interesting. I don't know
he
what
got
that cla-
he got
Well-
learned real quick.
You don't know like what Vader wasn't the person that he was in Empire Strikes Back. In Empire Strikes Back, he kind of took charge of everything. It seemed like,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Listen, Emperor, I'm gonna get the job done. Just like tell me what we need to do. I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna hunt down give me the rebellion. I got it. Like that. Before that, it seemed like he was just on different missions. So, that was like hunting down part of the rebellion. So before that, he could have been hunting down Jedi or whatever. And this guy that was in charge was like, oh, this guy, man, he fights with a laser sword. I'm in charge of all these grand things, Star Destroyers and ships. And then we got to answer to this guy. I can't even see his face.
A very Han Solo type line, Hokey
Yeah.
religions are nothing against a blaster.
Yeah, well, he learned that day.
He
real
learned.
quick.
Yep.
So then, like, the Princess Leia they ordered to torture her to get some information,
Mm-hmm.
and then we saw that weird droid come in with a needle.
That thing still gives me nightmares to this day. And I could be mistaken, but I think that was like one of the original Death Star props that they turned into the torture droid. Because the original Death Star was like silver, and they're like, it ruins scale if it's silver, so we have to make it gray, and then they reused it for that.
Paul Taylor with the line, "Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerous ways, Lord Vader. Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes." It's
Harder.
I thought that scene with Leia in prison and they brought in that droid was so awesome, because you see Vader and then the door slams down and then the people walk past. It's just it was shot so perfectly with the music,
And we don't really know Leia, like, or how hard she is or anything yet. So you're like, oh my God, the princess.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she was probably taking it on the chin. Like, I'm telling you nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, she was awesome. So then we get back to Tatooine and Obi-Wan is like, we got Chewbacca here he said he got a fast ship, and then Luke's getting into a little tussle with the Walrus man.
Good old bar fight.
Yeah. He's like, he doesn't like you. Sorry. I don't like you either.
Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were cool. That it's crazy too. Like there's so much in that scene, and like I'm glad those characters got fleshed out. But there's so much too, like behind the bar, the work that they did for that. I mean, they took like stuff off of engines from like World War II planes to make the bars, and then they used the heads of those things to make the IG unit in later movies.
I
That's
love how
incredible.
your chat is putting like the lines of the film in there. It's so awesome. That's such a love of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I have the death sentence of 12 systems. I'll be careful. You'll be dead. This little one's not worth your time. Here, let me get you a drink.
And then Ponda gets his arm cut off. Like Dr. Evazan was the one talking all the crap.
It's like you just see a flash, and then
apparently that was supposed to be like a lot more bloody, but they had to cut a bunch of it out. Evan Martin Fotan says, my parents bought me the OG trilogy on VHS back in 91 when I was 6, and it blew my mind. I appreciate you guys keeping the spirit of what George Lucas created alive. Much love, X-Wing and Jay.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, buddy. I love these streams, man. It feels so good to feel good talking Star Wars. You know what I mean?
That was such a unique scene to the you had the band playing that iconic dun, 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 and then they just panned around and showed a lot of characters that like toys I bought. Hammerhead.
Yeah.
He was in there. These blue people. People were speaking different languages. You didn't know what was going on. It was like that's Star Wars. It was like creatures that we don't know, stuff like that. And
do you know what that music's called?
Dun, 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 dun,
Do you know what they called it? So it was Figure and Dan and the Modal Nodes. Those are those Biff butthole players. The music, I don't know who greenlighted this, but it's a real thing. It's not jazz. It's called jizz.
Wow.
That music's called jizz. It's space jazz.
That's maybe I didn't need to know that, but
it kind of changes your perspective. But yeah, they did such an amazing job in just that short moment of bringing so much life and depth to Mos Eisley, because now we're not in the outskirts anymore. We're in the wretched hive of scum and villainy. There's all these crazy, creepy looking things where, if you imagine you're a farm boy who's never been into Mos Eisley,
it's already been an hour and we
just hit the cantina.
So then comes the other iconic scene. Who shot first? And that scene has been
McClunky.
It has been picked apart. It has been changed. It has been updated. It has been man. Oh my god. Yeah, there's one scene where you see Han like here.
Yeah,
and
he
it's
moves
like
his head off.
It looks so bad. And you're just like, George, it's never gonna heal if you keep
leave it alone. Stop picking at it.
Just leave it like the original. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah. That's our introduction to our homie. Han Solo. One of the greatest characters to ever exist in cinematic history. God, I love Han.
Oopa doopa Solo.
Greedo. That language was so cool. Rhodians. Yeah, Rhodians, man. Those guys are creepy. Greedo is so perfect because, like, I mean, you're reading this stuff in subtitles, but you're like, oh,
well,
that
Han is
a
cool too because he's
greaser.
Like, I don't have it with me. The whole time he's like getting his gun ready. He's like, if you give it to me first, he's like, over my dead body. That's the point.
Perfect.
McClunky.
Perfection. What was with the McClunky? Has anybody figured out why that's a thing?
The truth is, George Lucas added that before he sold it to Disney. That's why it's only in the Disney version, because it was added right before he. It's the truth. I'm telling you. I looked. Listen, I did a
troll.
I don't know. I did a video on it because I was like, this is stupid, like years ago. And then like when all the evidence came out, like Disney even said like that's the way we got it. So
I wonder if it was a troll.
George just saying, I'm gonna screw this up one last time.
Here you go. It just doesn't make sense. Like I can't think of another time that you hear McClunky. I could be wrong, but
No,
Is
it's
McClunky
stupid.
said at any other point?
So then they negotiate, and Luke is like, he's like, how much is it? I heard you got a fast ship. He's like, yeah, 10,000. And Luke's like, 10,000? I can buy my own ship for that. He's like, yeah, well, who's gonna fly it? I can fly it. I'm not a bad pilot myself.
bad pilot myself.
And then Obi-Wan's negotiating skills. We'll give you 3 now, or is it 5 now and 20 later, something like that. And Han's like, okay, let's go. So then he's like, well, we're in docking bay 5. And then we see the big guy with the big nose who's like,
What? Oh my god, I have his Lego because it was never released. I had a custom one made, and I'm trying to Garandan. That was his name, Garandan.
And in this film, when he does this, he accidentally hits his nose because it's not normal.
I think I missed that.
Oof. Yeah, he knocks it. You could see it in the film.
Did you know his voice is John Wayne?
Just sped up really fast.
Yeah, it's a bunch of John Wayne clips, and they just
That's hilarious.
It's John Wayne. Isn't that funny?
So we're gonna go pre-rejuvenate. So the Jabba the Hutt scene's not there, and then we get the other iconic line. What a piece of junk! That's
It's
so
so
good.
Beautiful though. I love the Falcon.
The Falcon, like, never really saw it like brand new. I mean, and so I don't count that, but you know what I mean? Like, never really saw it like,
yeah.
It was always the best hunk of junk in the galaxy. I mean, like, even in the sequels even said that's a piece of trash. You know what I mean? Like, they just, you never saw the Falcon like cleaned and polished. I guess you did in Solo, but I don't know if I count that, but it and even the ride in Galaxy's Edge is all, it's kind of busted up. But yeah, it like did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, and
that was probably my happiest. I mean, I know it was the sequel's Falcon, but it's still the Falcon. I don't care if they put porg nests and crap inside there. Just being able to sit inside the Falcon. I had people from the Disney staff were like screaming at me because I was running over. I was sitting in the chair, and they're like, "You need to get in your line." I'm like, "You can wait." I'm sitting in there, like checking out the holo chess table and everything. That was incredible. It's just so
cool.
iconic.
It's pretty cool. And then so the stormtroopers show up and they blast them, and Han's like, "What the heck? Get us out of here, Chewie!"
Yeah.
Now we start to see the team up, and off they go. They made it off Tatooine.
That's so much of the movie. Oh my god. I don't think I realized really. You always think when I think of A New Hope, I'm like, yeah, they're on Tatooine for a minute and then they take off. Like that's a solid chunk.
It's a good chunk because the next scene we're back on the Death Star, and they have Leia in front of Tarkin, and he's like, since Vader couldn't get it done, he's like, I grow tired. Just name the system, because they went to Alderaan, her home planet.
Yep.
And they're like, well, we're going to test it on your home planet. And she's like, there's families there with children and stuff.
Name another target, a military target.
That line was sick, man. He did it so well. Even Leia's line about, you're on a leash. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know at all. But that back and forth was top tier cinema. Vader's holding on to, now we know, his daughter. Which he didn't know, which is weird and wild, right? And then he's like, name the system. And she's like, Dantooine or whatever she said.
Yeah, Dantooine.
Yeah. And he goes, see, Vader? That's all you had to do. All right, we're going to blow up Alderaan anyway. And you're just like, Tarkin, dude.
You douche.
Tarkin. That was the dude. And you just like, that was like evil. You're just like, I want this guy to die. Tarkin.
Yeah.
He just was like elegant. He was sophisticated bad guy. He was dressed perfectly. Not a wrinkle on his shirt. Everything was perfectly made. He stood at attention.
Wearing slippers.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like that is like that's like a villain. Like he's not like some trashy bad villain that kills people. No, he was like, I'm in charge. You're gonna tell me the system. I'm gonna blow up. Probably, Bale. All those people probably died.
Yep.
That we know from the prequels in that shot. All of her friends, everything died.
I miss that kind of villain in Star Wars. Like, it's the Thrawn-esque type villain. It's a very prim, very proper, cold, calculated military.
A lot of movies like the James Bond have them at times. Mission Impossible, they have those. It's like the villain that wears a suit.
Yeah.
Like it's Lex Luthor, like whatever it is, but it's like it's they're elegant, but they're evil.
I was just thinking about that, Nick Coolio. I love her little accent when she comes on. I smell your foul stench the minute I came aboard. Like, oh, she nails it. So, because it's not British, but it's like somewhere in between. It's like British American.
It's that scene was awesome. And then he blows up Alderaan. It's like boo, boo, boo,
that
boo.
Classic noise.
And then Alderaan gets blown up, and then Obi-Wan's like, but right before that, he's like, Luke is training. He's like, put the blast shield on. Got the little disco ball.
That was such a friggin' cool moment, man. You get that cool moment between him and Han. You kind of see how the world views Jedi, how they view the Force. It reinforces what we saw earlier.
Man.
Yeah.
Put a blaster on your side. But then, he comes around full circle, which is so cool. That's what made Han. It's just such an awesome character.
Yeah.
All of them were, man. They were all. The beauty of Lucas is that everyone was important.
Yeah.
C-3PO was important. R2 was important. Han, Chewie, all of them were important. There wasn't a character, and that's why people resonated with, Chewie's my favorite character. Han's my favorite character. I like Luke. I like Obi-Wan. I like this. Vader was the baddest villain of all. Like, look how elegant the Empire were. They were evil people, but they never had a wrinkle in their shirt. It's like Lucas made sure, like, if you were in the film, you were important.
Yeah. Everything had a purpose.
Yes, and that is like top tier storytelling where you write each character had their own moment that was important. And like it's just not like that anymore. And it's sad, So like Luke had his moment with the blast shield. You saw like the chess,
I did. I felt something. I did.
Yeah. And then Obi-Wan's like, "Oh, something happened."
It's as if I heard a million voices crying out. Valiantes for 5. Sup, guys? Excuse me. Sup, guys? Did Revenge of the Sith enhance A New Hope for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, you got to think about when he asked him about his father, and then just perfectly, Guinness kind of takes a head dip, and he's scratching his head like, what do I say? And then you just cut to everything that happened between Anakin and Obi-Wan.
After Revenge of the Sith, I immediately, I watched it at midnight. I went to bed. I put on A New Hope the next day.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're just kind of like, and I was all giddy again. I'm like, oh man, he doesn't know yet. And this is
right back in it.
So good. Yeah. So good.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's the hollow chest scene.
Yeah, I brought it up. You just didn't hear me.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to. My brain is fried.
It's okay.
I apologize.
So his chest hurts. Alderaan's blowed up, right? And they get to Alderaan, and it's a little asteroid field.
It's a whole asteroid field.
It's all blown up, and Han's like, "Well, this is no Alderaan. Like, this is what." And Obi-Wan's like, "It was destroyed by the Empire," and Han's like, "Man,
ain't nobody blowing up planets."
What you smoking, old man? They ain't got that kind of firepower. And then they got hit with they got hit in the tractor beam. They're like, "What is that?"
Well, it's the lone TIE fighter first. Remember, the lone TIE fighter shows up and he goes,
flies
"That thing
over
can't
him, and
be-"
Han's like, "Oh, I'm gonna jam their radar." So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, not for long.
They foreshadowed. They're like, that type of fighter can't be, operating this far
Yeah.
away from.
Must have got lost in part of a convoy or something.
Yeah, yeah. We'll go.
And then
go
it
to that
then it-
moon.
Yep, there's the line. They're like, "What is that thing?" I don't know. Some kind of a moon?
That's no moon. That's a space station.
It's too big to be a space station. And then Obi-Wan's like, can you turn around?
Yeah, we should probably get out of here.
I was like, yeah, I think you're right. And then the whole ship starts shaking. It was
What would you
great,
do,
man. They got
man?
pulled into the tractor beam, and Han's like ready to go, man. Ready. He's like, and Obi-Wan's like, there's other ways that we can handle this.
Didn't he say, was that? I'm trying to remember if that was the one or a different one. I think it was that tractor beam. He's like, "I'm not giving up without a fight." And
Yeah,
like,
that was
immediately
Han.
gives up.
Obi-Wan was like, there's better ways we can handle this. So they hid, and
Took out
then
the
you
scanner
then
crew.
you get the hey, we need some help in here. The stormtroopers go up, you hear a blaster, and Obi-Wan's like, I'm gonna go turn off the tractor beam. I'll be back. You guys take care of it. Thank you all for the love tonight, man. The super chats is awesome.
Bo and Debbie, how many times will you hear the line, "I've got a very bad feeling about this" in all Star Wars? I think it's done in every movie except for one. Isn't there one where it's missing? I don't remember. I'm looking it up.
Was it in Return of the Jedi? I don't think it was in Return of the Jedi. Oh, it was in Return of the Jedi when they were sneaking to Endor, and Luke says, "I have a bad feeling about this." Vader's on that ship. And then that's when Han's like, "I don't know, fly casual."
What does that mean? It's in every one. It's in every one.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it might not have been in Return of the Jedi, but yeah, it's in there.
If the Falcon had strawberry jam cannon, they could have knocked out the. It's got to be an inside joke. I don't know.
Spaceballs, man.
Oh, Spaceballs.
About to be.
I've seen it
jammed.
once.
Watch party in X-Wing's Discord. We're gonna watch Spaceballs and laugh our butt off because that's
I've only
better
seen
than
Spaceballs once.
Spaceballs is better than the sequel trilogy.
I believe that. That's not a really
with Pizza the
high bar.
Hut and Barf. That's great.
Yogurt.
Yes, it's so good.
I remember it.
So where were we? So they're in the Death Star, and they're in their stormtroopers, and they go up to find out where the tractor beam, and they realize that the princess is there in prison.
This is when they get dressed in drag.
And Luke is like, we gotta rescue her, Han. We can't stay. He goes, "I'm not going anywhere. Crazy old man's gonna get the tractor beam down. I'm not going anywhere." He's like,
"Money.
She's rich." And you hear Chewie like, He goes, "All right, what's your plan, kid?" He's like, "All right, Chewie, come here. Let me put this on you." And then he realizes Chewbacca's not his friend yet.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Hold on.
He's trolling you. I have a bad feeling about this was not in Solo. Are you really looking it up? Stay on target.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I like to know these stupid little factoids. You know what I mean?
Stay on target.
So yeah, time to go save the princess. They get binders on the giant Wookiee,
and they go to the prison cell, and the guy's like, "What is that thing?" Prisoner transfer from 115568. It was like, he did it so casual. I wasn't authorized.
And then
I gotta call it in, and then
we get the infamous camera shooting scene that goes on for
a little too long.
2 minutes. Just shooting cameras.
Then we get to that great scene. It's like, Hello, everything is fine here. Situation normal. How are you?
So good.
It's
Bam,
like
blows it out. Boring conversation anyway.
Like, Luke, we're gonna have company. Yeah. Then we got the other iconic line is when Luke opens the door, he sees how beautiful Princess Leia is, and she's like, "Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?"
What? I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm
It's
here
like,
to rescue you.
oh, the uniform. Yeah, I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here with Ben Kenobi. Come on. And that is such. And then they fight the stormtroopers. Leia takes over, shoots up. Leia and their ego, whatever it is, their power struggle between Han and Leia begin to show.
So
He's
woke,
like, I don't know,
bro.
I'm beginning to like her.
So woke. You got a female taking over the situation.
Sends them into the garbage trash compactor, which is like, that's like classic movies, like Spy Hunters and stuff like that. A scene like that
Indiana Jones.
where the walls were caving in has been in a lot of adventure films, and it was kind of neat that it was put in Star Wars.
Yep.
So yeah, so then like this whole time Luke's like, oh, wait a minute. I got C-3PO here. Hey, shut down all the garbage chutes in the detention level.
That was so awesome when they're screaming and 3PO's like, oh,
my
God,
they're
oh,
dying.
no, they're dying.
What have I done?
That was such a good scene. Oh, and the Dianaga, man. Talk about a creepy creature that you never really get to see. And I just remember, like, I think it was Shadows of the Empire. It was the N64 game. You have to fight the Dianaga in the sewers. I was like, that makes that so much worse. That game
was awesome when you were. I mean, I played that game twice over. That game was pretty awesome.
Dash Rendar, man. That's why my gaming channel is Dash Rendar.
There was such great lines in that. I see people putting it in the chat. Yeah. Perhaps you'd like it back in your cell, Your Highness. Yeah, what a wonderful smell you discovered. Was so good. And then Leia's still aggravated. They get out and they're like, can someone get this walking carpet out of my way?
Yep.
It was so good. And then like when they start fighting the stormtroopers again, Han like runs after them.
And he turns around.
Yeah.
That was another good scene.
And then another iconic movie thing that George borrowed from hundreds of other films was the throwing the rope over.
Yeah.
It was also in Indiana Jones. It was in other things. It was so cool, man.
I love watching the behind the scenes when Carrie Fisher's talking about that, and her and Mark are there, and she's like, God, I hope I'm skinny enough that we're not going to break this rope when we swing across.
But that was for the budget that he had and the adventure that he was trying to put in the film, and the double, the people he only had a certain amount of people that could dress in stormtroopers. Now remember, they're on the Death Star. There's probably millions of stormtroopers, all kinds of troopers on this thing, and they only fought like 12 to 15. Yeah. That's just around that docking bay. And probably because the other people were probably like, we've got a slight disturbance over here. Can some of you guys handle it? And so the whole time you got like, and then there's Obi-Wan, and he's just like, does the tractor beam. And then Vader's like, there's something going on here. There's a presence here I haven't felt.
That it hurts to talk about that part now.
Yeah. He's like, there's a presence here that I haven't felt. And Obi-Wan kind of knew, He knows. It's like, it's time to pass the baton. So he does his thing. He gets the tractor beam off. And Obi-Wan is walking. And he bumps into Vader. And you see the lightsaber, man, for the first, like...
Vader's slow ignition is just the greatest of all time.
It's the best, man. Because you're like, this whole time, Darth Vader is a monster. He's choking people. He's 3 feet higher than everybody in the room. He's got the scariest voice. Everything. And here's Obi-Wan, old man Obi-Wan, and his, he's got, and they start to talk like, your powers are weak, old
buddies.
Man. Yeah. It's like, wild.
When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Yeah.
Only a master of evil, Darth. That was incredible. I love. If anybody hasn't seen it, go check out. I think it's Scene 38 reimagined.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. They redo the saber fight way better than the Kenobi series did.
It was cool. They did a good job. But for what George was working with and the special effects at the time, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Because they're waiting on Obi-Wan. The blast doors open up and Luke's like, "Hey, what's going on over there?"
What are they doing?
And they're watching, and Obi-Wan's like,
just looks and smiles.
The music, dun, dun, dun. And then then Darth Vader hits a grand slam out of Wrigley Field.
We get our first Star Wars. No.
Yeah. But then Obi-Wan disappears, and that caused so much debate. Like, wait, before he was cutting off limbs. So now what happened? And Vader's like stomping on the robe, like,
yeah, he's kicking it.
Like, where'd he go?
Does Vader's saber do disintegrations? Like, what the hell is that?
Exactly.
Bo, Debbie, for another 5. You don't have to super chat multiple times, man. I'm pulling up chats. I got you. Just gotta say, I love the snark between Leia and Han. It's equal, back and forth, no emasculation like in Disney Star Wars.
It's perfect. It's perfect banter, and you have Luke in the middle, kind of like, I
don't like it when people are like, George can't write dialogue. Like, shenanigans. He can totally write dialogue.
That banter was awesome. And then there was, a lot of the actors, like, they ad-lib some lines to add to it to make it better, but that's because George found the right people.
Yeah.
It was freaking awesome. So then Obi-Wan is gone, and Luke thinks he's dead, which I guess technically he just got sucked up in the Force. Right?
Yeah. He became part of the living Force.
Now, the debate is, because we've never seen that happen before. Usually they got to die.
Mm-hmm.
Yoda died of old age. Like, he died and got sucked in. Did Obi-Wan just go? Did he just hold his breath for like too long, so he died right there before the lightsaber hit him? or was he able to turn it on and go?
I mean, same thing. Like, with Palpatine, strike me down and I'll become more. That Obi-Wan said, "Strike me down and I'll become more powerful." Same thing. I think Palpatine felt the same way. There was just, it didn't really matter how you died. It's just when your body is destroyed, the Force. I feel like such a nerd right now. I love it. The Force within you, just goes back to the living Force.
Yeah, that's what they tried to give us in The Last Jedi with Luke.
Yeah,
it was dumb.
Everybody's on the scene. I guess we should keep going with the scene.
Yep. So so Luke is staying there. He's mad, and he just starts mowing down the stormtroopers. Like, Han is like, "Let's go, kid. We gotta go, man." And then you hear it. Yeah, run, Luke, run. That's it. So Luke is like, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" He takes off.
Voices, man.
Yeah, he takes off. They got Princess Leia. They go to the secret base. Before I went ahead, but I was like thinking of time. But they leave, and they only send 4 TIE fighters after them.
I thought that was kind of odd.
Yeah, well, Princess Leia explained that. So they send out 4 TIE fighters. They blow them up, and then Han's like, "I told you we could do it," and Leia's like, "They let us leave. They're tracking us," and he's like, "No, they're not tracking this ship," and Leia's like, "You delusional turd, you." Like, that's exactly why they let us leave.
I still think that's odd, though. Like, why wouldn't you send 100 TIE fighters and disable the ship?
Because they wanted the location of the base. They knew they were taking Leia to the base, so they let them
just get them and then interrogate them.
Nah, they tried that already. She lied.
Yeah, that's true. This is true.
She lied to us. I know. Look at Daisy. You gotta love Daisy
Blossom with a $50 super chat. My God, that's generous. Thank you so much.
She's awesome, man. I got to meet her in Vegas. She's freaking awesome.
I'm hoping to make it down to Vegas this year because I want to meet all the people, obviously, that I've befriended in your community, and hopefully maybe some people from my community can make it too. Daisy says, this movie means so much to me. My dad and I saw it 5 times in 1977. It was magical. My dad can no longer remember, but I do. Thank you for the stream, X-Wing and Jay.
Thank you for being here, Daisy.
That's beautiful, man.
And everybody, thank you for the likes and the support. When me and X-Wing talked about me and X-Wing, we talked on the phone about these streams, and we were just like, yeah, we got to do something positive, man. It's so easy to talk about the negative, and
there's a lot of it.
Because it's kind of thick right now.
Yeah,
but right now it's like and the positive and what Daisy said about her dad, that's man. My dad can no longer remember, but I do. But yeah, it's like those memories that you hold on to of what Star Wars did to so many people. Return of the Jedi was the first time my father took me and my brother to the movies.
Really?
And it was a re-release too. It was like later on. It wasn't even like the original. But I remember that it was like, I'm actually going to my parents were like heavily religious. They didn't like movies.
Yeah.
So the fact that we were able to like go, it was like, oh my God, like this is awesome. Jesus.
Especially Star Wars, which would be seen as, not particularly on track.
And yeah, like the memories, like, that me and my brother have personally, it's like we did Star Wars every day. We had baseball bats, like wiffle ball bats as lightsabers that I tried to paint with my mom's nail polish. Like we did everything we could. You know what I mean? To be Star Wars, to live in this world that meant so much to us. And that's why people always, I can only speak for myself, but people are always like, man, you crap a lot on Star Wars now. I was like, you don't know what it meant to me to see it mistreated the way it's being mistreated. And that's why I speak out. That's why a lot of people speak out about it and just say, we don't like this. What you're doing here is not right. And it disrespects our memories, the things that we had, the things that we love, the things that we, remember all these years, stuff like we're just going through a simple story movie that changed the world. It changed movies. It changed storytelling. It changed so much because instead of kids playing with G.I. Joe characters, they were playing with Star Wars characters.
Yep.
I wanted all the Legos I wanted were Star Wars Legos. I didn't want anything else. Like this is what I want. Everybody wanted a lightsaber now. Nobody wanted a gun.
And little girls were running around as Lucy Skywalker.
That's what I'm saying. I mean? It's like no one wanted a gun, like a toy gun. I wanted a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like that's what I wanted. And yeah, Star Wars Dog is correct. This matters. It's not just a movie. It's an experience that people have come together for memories. Man. And I'll share something real quick that's a little off Star Wars, but this is why people get upset when Disney sticks their finger in and messes things up. I was at Splash Mountain the day before they closed it here in Orlando. The last day. Yeah. And there were and you saw X-Wing, there were people on Twitter saying if you go to the last day, you're probably basically they said you're a terrible person with using ist words and that
they
word.
Filled the Splash Mountain log ride with some of the most deplorable people from history. Yeah.
And saying that's who you are if you go ride this ride. I was with my brother because me and my brother have been riding that ride since we were kids. In front of me was a woman, right? Hey, she wasn't white. Just to throw that out there. She had a photo of her dad. And the last ride that her dad rode with her, dad took her to Disney because he died of cancer. And he took his daughter to Disney one last time before he had to go through all this treatment. And they've got a photo of them going down Splash Mountain. She had that photo. And she went there to ride it again. And she was just like, she's telling us the story. And you're trying not to like cry.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's what this ride means to me. And the fact that people are saying that I'm a bad person because I like this ride, it's she's like, it's telling on who those people really are. Like they don't understand the magic. They don't understand the memories. They don't understand what this means to families and things like that. And I sat there like listening to her, like, dear God, man, that is like powerful.
That's some heavy dope. Yeah, absolutely.
And she rode the ride. She was in our cart. She was in front of us. They rode the ride, and you know, and we were like, how was it? And she's just like, it was wonderful. She goes, my dad was with me. My dad was with me. And it's like, man, like, yeah, man. I know. It's just like, oh man. Man. And that's the same thing with Star Wars. Just like what Daisy said. You know, I have these memories, like my dad can't remember. I have these memories with my father with this film, you know?
Yeah. You have to wonder where the respect, love, and empathy went with people. It's horrifying.
I don't know. People think they're fighting. They think they're fighting a war that doesn't exist.
The righteous battle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just demonizing themselves in the process. The Flying Fish for 5 said, I have something else I really want to watch, but I'm here tonight. Well, thank you very much for your contribution and your time for being here, Frisch. I sent out your figure yesterday. Did a nice wax Rebel stamp on there for you. I think you're going to enjoy it.
So now I'm all in my feels now. So Daisy hit me right in my face. I love it. So now we're at the Secret Rebels. We're at the Secret Rebel base. You know, we had Han yell at Luke, "Great kid, don't get cocky. Don't be like me, kid. Don't be like me." And
that was such a cool scene, though. Hold on, I want to stop on that. For anybody who doesn't know in the chat, what was so cool about that, and you can go back, you watch it behind the scenes, it's shot for the World War II dogfight footage.
It was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Oh
incredible.
man, are you kidding me? As a kid, we did it in these chairs. My dad's office chair, like. Oh man, it's so good.
I used to, when my wife and I went to Disneyland Paris, and we got to ride the Space Mountain there, which is absolutely incredible. It's, you know, it's more like the Guardians of the Galaxy ride is totally updated. And they did it as Star Wars, and you're getting banged around all over the place. And my wife was laughing her butt off because as we're going through, I'm going, dun, 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 dun. She goes, "Are you singing?" I'm like, "Yeah." That stuff just sticks with you, man. It just sticks with you.
So we're at the base, and you know, Han is like loading up his money, and people are like. And Luke is like trying to give him the guilt trip. You see what's going on here, man?
Yeah.
We need you. And Han is like, I can't explain to you, kid, what I need to do. Like, I've got to take care of this before I can help. Like, you don't understand. And so now we're seeing Han struggle, and people are like, oh, was he really just for the money? Yeah. And it's like, but now that we've seen all the films, you're like, he's got a bounty on his head. He's got to take care of her, or he's gonna die. You know, like, I got to take care of this. I can't help. I can't fight this, you know? And then Han's like, you know what, kid, you could leave all this and come. I could use someone like you. And he's like, nah, man, I got to fight. I got to be here. So
we see Luke change somebody again.
And then Leia's like, you okay, Luke? I was like, oh, it's Han. He's like, he'll choose his destiny. We got to worry about what's in front of us. It just, the dialogue and everything was so perfect. And the chemistry was fantastic.
Yeah.
So then they're sitting there and they're like, they plug in R2 and they got the Death Star's a little off because the gun is like in the middle, not off to the side. And then we have like one of the greatest lines, you know, an X-Wing versus Star. Wait, versus Star. What did he say? One X-Wing versus Star Destroyer? Did he say something like that? You know what I'm talking about, that line?
I know what you're talking about.
Help me out, Chad.
I couldn't quote it.
The one guy is like, an X-Wing versus a spaceship or starship?
And they go over, going through the port.
They're talking about... Well, I'm saying that they're talking about, like, you got to get your photon torpedoes.
Yeah, into the little bitty hole.
And everyone's like... That's
impossible. And he goes, no, I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16.
Yeah.
And the guy looks at him like, you dick. What are you trying to
Yeah.
show me up, man?
It's probably like womp rats. What the heck? What are you?
What the hell is a
talking about?
womp rat?
Who is this kid anyway? I haven't seen him at all the meetings. He wasn't been here. How does he know how to fly an X-wing? Like,
Yeah.
who is this kid? You know,
They do that a lot in Star Wars, though. Like they just start giving people military roles. I guess you have to, and if you're in a little rebellion like that,
it's a rebellion, though.
Whoever can do it, do it.
I gotta find out what that guy's line is. I gotta find out what that an X-wing versus a whole starship. He says something like that. It was such a great line, and I love that line because I would say that all the time. I would be like 3 hours to take a science test. Like so I would just use it in like stupid stuff like that. Oh, but yeah. So
tough to tell.
So then they know where the rebel base is, and like the Empire is almost celebrating. They're like, this is gonna be a day long remembered.
Yeah.
You know? We're gonna wipe the rebellion out finally. We're gonna be rid of them. You know, and then they had that unique little map of the moon, you know, and they're like waiting for it to come around the planet. And they're like just hanging out, like, you know, and you're watching like T-minus 5 minutes and counting. And Tarkin's just sitting there like waiting, dudes. Oh, it was so good. And
it was such a good way to add the countdown. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it happens, man. You see these X-wings and they're like gold leader standing by, red one standing by.
The sign-in was so sick. The sign-in was so perfect, and I loved it. They actually had to build in the motors to practically open up the wings on the X-wings.
Red 5 standing by, and you heard some of the call-in like through the radio. Red 6 standing. It was so good.
Simply Red standing by.
Oh, it was so good.
And then on to the attack.
And they made their run, and then the hero we needed, Jet Porkins.
Oh, Porkins.
He's the first one to die, isn't he?
Is he the first one?
I think he's the first one to die.
No, because you get guys that die before. Is he the first one to go?
I think he's the first one to go.
I love that.
He's like, because he doesn't really get shot down. He's like, I got a little problem here.
He's got his Taco Bell
like,
his large
got a little problem here. No, I got it. I can handle it. And they're like, hey, man, pull up. No, it's okay. I got
Look at all the Rip Porkins in the chat, man. They've been releasing all these Black Series helmets. Where's my Porkins helmet?
Was that a troll?
Huh.
Was it a troll naming that guy Porkins?
Oh, 100%. You don't think they knew what they were doing there? Porkins. He's the one fat fighter pilot.
He was our hero, dang it.
Say his name.
He was our hero.
And then we get the trench run, man.
But the gold leader, they go in first.
Yeah.
Now, also what people don't remember is that the Luke's best friend is there, Biggs.
Mm-hmm. Biggs
He's
dies.
been his best friend for a while, you know. That's it. Oh yeah, Wedge Antilles. Look at the size of that thing.
Oh God, Wedge. I love Wedge. He's my favorite fighter pilot in Star Wars, and he's the only one that survived all the major conflicts.
Am I looking up that quote?
X-wing pilot. What? That didn't work out. I don't know if that's body positivity, man. The X-wing's too heavy. I can't turn.
He was a little cramped in there, wasn't he?
Yeah. They had to lard him up on the sides and then stuff him down in the cockpit and then slam the hatch shut. Poor Porkins.
I'm gonna find that quote.
Find it. Yeah, I'll talk about the trench run for a little bit because that was just absolutely incredible what they did for all the VFX for that. But honestly, I think my favorite part about all of it was that, you know, towards the end there, all the turbo lasers would be going, and then the turbo lasers go quiet, and you're like, oh, why did all the lasers stop? And then you know something bad is coming for sure. And then we get the most amazing tie design ever. You get Darth Vader's tie advanced screaming in, and we're like, oh shit. He flies? They fly now? And you get Darth Vader coming in at his tie advance, making his adjustments, trying to line up on Luke, and it's like the great battle of our time.
And he had the different ships. It's the first time you see
the tie advance.
Tie what?
Advanced.
The tie advance. Yeah. The tie advance. I can't find it. They keep giving me the wrong quote.
Which one are you looking for?
I'm gonna get it. Don't worry.
Okay.
I just pulled up the entire script of A New Hope. We could have just read the script tonight.
Datboy Steve says, "Fat jokes in 2023. Have you no shame, X?" No.
So
Andrew
then, so the gold leader, he gets a shot off first. He's like, "It's away," and it's like negative. It just impacted on the right. And then he's like, "All right, guys, get yourself ready. We're gonna go on another."
Yeah.
He gets blown up. So now they've dropping like flies, and it's like Luke,
starting to
Wedge,
get pretty tense here, man.
and Biggs. That's it. It's the three. It's Luke, Wedge, and Biggs. They're like, all right, it's on us, man. Let's get in it. So they go into the trench run, and it's like they're going for it, man. And his best friend is like, Luke, hurry up and take the shot. I can't hold him. And he's flying all over the place, man. He's like, Luke, hurry up, man. He's like, I'm almost there. And he's like looking through the little scope. And he's like, I'm almost there. And his best friend gets
smoked.
He's like, I can't hold him. Blows up.
Drunk, I think you might be thinking about the Empire scene.
I'm going to get to it. Don't worry.
That's right. When they're going to evacuate. And Lois says, we can go in literally any direction, but we're going to go directly at him. There's somebody we can talk to here? Maybe somebody from the military?
Let's see. I'll find it.
That's okay. I'm looking through chat. So many beautiful people in the chat, man. I've loved the discussion tonight, just watching you guys rehashing old memories.
I know, it's awesome, right? Well, they're in there, and then there's Biggs. So now it's just Luke and Biggs, Luke and Wedge. And Wedge is useless because he's like, I got a problem. He's like, I can't hold him. He's like, I got to break off. I can't do anything. Sorry. He just like leaves. And then Vader's like, okay, just stay on the leader, right? And they can't get him, man. It's like,
what's he thinking though, dude? He's looking at that X-wing is all.
Yeah.
R2?
Maybe. Well, then it's like from Vader's perspective, you see like the X-wing. He's like, then there's like a quiet calm. He's like, use the Force, Luke. Let go, man. Let go. And he's like, all right, I'll turn off the control thing.
The targeting computer. Control's
then it goes back to the base. They're like, yeah, exactly. Like, and he's like, and you, Luke, are you okay? I'm okay.
Like, how great. He's lost it.
He's like, I'm okay. It's all right.
I'd probably be thinking we were screwed at that point if I was sitting in control.
Yeah.
He gave in to battle fatigue. He's lost his mind. He turned off his targeting computer. You don't know what the Force is.
What are snub fighters going to be against that? Yeah, okay. So that was the line I was thinking.
Okay. Snub fighter. Somebody threw that in the chat. Who gets 5 points?
Yeah.
Who gets 5 points to their house?
Yep, that's it.
I don't see it.
I have the script. And then, she says, well, the Emperor doesn't consider a small one-man fighter to be any threat. R2-D2 stands next to the similar robot, makes beeping sounds, and turns his head to the far right. Yeah.
You got the script
Yeah.
straight to the source, huh?
Yeah. That's
You read the-
impossible, even for a computer. It's not impossible. I used to bowl womp wraps in my T16
wraps.
back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Oh,
And then we get the iconic moment
I have you now.
and the redemption.
He was shooting straight at the X-Wing.
Yep.
And his side ship blows up. And we're all like, what?
Who dat?
What? Yeah, and then it's like, yeah, he's got his like headpiece on sideways.
That's
like,
when we see the cool gloves for the first time. He's got the dope Han gloves.
You mean,
Yahoo!
wasn't that a dice?
You're all clear, kid. The golden dice. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
Yeah, because like the TIE fighter hits Vader, he spins out of control.
Yep.
He's like, yo, yeah, just blow this thing and go home. And then he's like, you may fire when ready. They're like, boo, you're getting ready to hit the button. All the lights come on.
All clear.
Yeah, and then they go right in. Oh man, it's so cool. And they get away and they get ready to fire, and
Which apparently, after seeing that explosion, I find it confusing. But apparently, large portions of that station somehow survived that explosion.
no, it was the second Death Star.
Oh, that's right. It was the second. Same thing.
Yeah, it was the second Death Star.
I don't like the sequels. What do you want?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I do that
go
too
back?
often when talking about that first meeting. I always put many Bothans died in A New Hope. And that's not A New Hope. I do that all the time. I did that on Star Wars Theory stream. Everybody's like, "You're a fake Star Wars fan." I'm like, damn it, I do that every time.
Many Bothans died to give us this information. That would be kind of a cool movie, The Bothan Spies.
You ever see a Bothan?
Then they have funny heads.
They're like a dog. It's like
Yeah.
a dog man.
Everyone in the chat, that's a great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Yep.
And then they all were hugging each other, you know.
Yep. That was such a good moment.
He goes, I knew you'd come back. It's more than money. Your reward. That's something like that. Whatever. They're make little jabs here and there.
Everybody's expression though, like when you go back and you watch that, it's so genuine when you're watching that scene. Like you see Mark Hamill all stoked, and everybody's punching each other and stoked and hugging and stuff like that. It just seems so genuine. I don't know. Love it.
Yeah. And then we get to the dun 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 dun.
You want to hear something crazy? And let's see, there were, I think probably, actually, I haven't seen him in the chat tonight, but right after I kissed my now wife, that music played at my wedding. That was our walking. That was our walking away. It was awesome.
Such good dialogue. Like here's some of the best quotes that I looked up. It said, Who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him? In my experience, there's no such thing as luck. What's good a reward if you're not around to use it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Han was such a misogynist. If we can just avoid any more female advice, we ought to be able to get out of here. Look, I take orders from just one person. Me. It's pretty good, man.
That's what it's called, recessional. Yeah, the recessional music.
And then there was the dreaded. Where the heck did Chewie didn't get a medal? And then they had to make this whole story about Wookiees don't like medals. That's why they didn't get it. It's like, no.
What was that?
It's on Wikipedia.
Talk to me about Wikipedia.
Yeah. We'll just leave that. We'll just leave that. And then it began, man. It began us using our imagination and building TIE fighters and lightsabers in our backyard, and breathing like this around people.
In my life, everybody started talking into fans.
Yes. Yes. And we wanted to be Luke and Han and Leia and like just was so good. And you watch that movie so many times. That's why we were able to know all the lines, you know?
Yeah. And Ivan's got a good point. Solo had an amazing arc in this, from selfish, materialistic pirate to friend and ally who cares about his new friends and the rebellion. Yeah, he finally had something to care about.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
He had a great arc. Luke began to mature a little bit. Like, you got to see him use the Force a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty awesome. And then it was like, once it was over, they gave us that little tease of Vader, you know, getting his ship under control and kind of.
Yeah, we knew he wasn't dead.
So now you knew, like, yeah. So it's like, okay,
it's
here
on.
we are.
Yeah,
it's like, what's
on.
gonna be next? So, like, we didn't even know. Like, we didn't know what was gonna be next, but here we are.
So many times they talk about how, you know, George didn't know if he was going to be able to make another movie or what, but he put so much in that I think he planned on it, but he made a good enough standalone film that it could survive on its own. You know?
I think so. It's like, he had the scripts, but he was like, if it was something that's never been seen on a big screen before, so it was like, it could have bombed, or it could have, you know, I didn't think anybody expected it to be as big as it was.
Yeah.
And you could go back and look at some of the old, like, footage of people standing in line for 4 to 5 hours to watch the movie.
Oh yeah.
It was different back then. It's not like they had, like, you know, 4 o'clock showing, 4:30 showing, 5 showing. It was, you know, this theater had like 2 screens.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to see it, you had to wait in line. So people were waiting while the whole movie was being played so they could go in and see it again. And you're just kind of like, gosh, man, that's wild.
I love watching the videos, you know, grainy, you know, early, you know, 77, 78 footage. And they're like, that was our whole summer, man. That's all we did, was like, we would go and watch Star Wars. And if we weren't watching Star Wars, we were playing Star Wars, riding around on our bikes like we were on X-Wings. And just hearing those kids, like, you see how much of an impact it made on somebody who was there in 77. And then you go back and you look at, like, you know, my generation going and watching the prequels is the exact same thing. And we have the added love of everybody that was there in the 70s. And then to come on today and build a channel about Star Wars and to love this as much as I do, and to want to fight for it and to want to kind of bring back this love for it. And for somebody to be like, you're not a real Star Wars fan.
I know.
You don't care about this franchise. Like, that's why I'm here. It's the whole reason I'm doing everything I'm doing. It's tough.
I know, man. It's just like, you think about like that, you just wonder, I don't know, man, you just wonder, like, what they were thinking when the movie finally was released. Because you got, I think Obi-Wan Guinness is the only, was he like the only seasoned actor in this film? Everybody else was kind of like new.
Yeah, I mean, Han Solo, and that was very purposeful. I mean, Han Solo, yeah, he was
They were
smoking
cheap,
pot and
that's
making
why.
cabinets.
Yeah.
You know, well, George didn't want anybody really well known, but I mean, for the role of Obi-Wan, yeah, he needed somebody who had the gravitas. So he got him. But I mean, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford. I don't know how much I think Ian McDiarmid was known in his own right, but that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, he was only in I mean, he wasn't even in Empire Strikes Back originally. That wasn't him.
No, they had that weird.
Yeah, he was just in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Was Peter Cushing known for anything? I don't think he was. He was just huge. I remember hearing the casting call for Chewie, and like they had brought in a bunch of people, and then all of a sudden this dude who was like, no, oh, Peter Cushing played Doctor Who. I didn't know that.
I did not know that either.
he walks in the room and he's 9 feet tall, and George is like, "Yeah, that's him." Okay.
Well,
Didn't
he
need anything
originally
else.
voiced Vader too, right? Until they
Peter Cushing.
who voiced Vader originally before
He didn't have a voice. It was just David Prowse.
David? Yeah.
Yeah, David Prowse was Vader.
And then James Earl Jones came later.
David Prowse was in a bunch of Hammer horror movies.
Oh. I see.
Cushing. Yeah, Cushing. Cushing was in Van Helsing and something else. Wait, why did I say Peter Cushing? Peter Mayhew. Hold on.
Peter Mayhew is Chewbacca.
Yeah.
See, now we're like looking up facts during a live stream.
Well, here's the thing. I got Peter Cushing and Peter Mayhew mixed up. Peter Cushing is Tarkin.
Oh, yeah. Tarkin.
Peter Mayhew is Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Well, Christopher Lee wasn't around in that. Orson Welles originally voiced Vader. I thought he said he wanted Orson Welles, but he couldn't make Orson Welles work for some reason. Oh, was he? I didn't know that. See, my chat knows more about Star Wars than I do.
I know. Well, that's why I love the chat, because they're always the MVP.
Yeah.
They're always the MVP. Tarkin, like he was a seasoned actor.
Yeah.
You could tell that on the screen. So
yeah, wanted Orwell, didn't get him.
Interesting. Man, that's just I was just thinking about it. It's like awesome. That's freak. What a great start to the franchise.
So that was it.
And then
Star
from
Wars
there,
New
it's
Hope.
like Empire Strikes Back. It's like, oh my God, they're gonna make another one. And in between all that, it was like we were hungry for toys that they didn't get out in time. Like I said, we had the coupon. They had the coupon for Christmas.
Yep.
Because they didn't expect what they were expecting. George Lucas made a butt ton off merchandise. Gosh. And then it was like, okay, we're gonna greenlight because you couldn't do Empire without Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't be like, yeah, this is a standalone film, because how are you going to leave everybody hanging?
Yeah.
I'm your father and you're dead, and that's the end of the series, everyone.
It always had to be a trilogy.
You only had some of your training. We had to wait 3 years. Well, yeah, that's because they didn't know. They didn't know if they were going to make another one.
I think 3 years is in a world where we're constantly used to getting something every year. I think 3 years for a Star Wars movie is good. Give them the time that they need. You know what I mean?
Or they do the old Lord of the Rings and film it all at the same time.
Yeah.
And then you could drop them off every year.
Not a terrible idea.
You
got an interesting theory about this one.
2027 is the 50th year anniversary. Let's see it in the theaters again. I bet they don't do that.
You don't think so?
I will. Well, you know what? I take it back, because when the movie, I don't know if you guys know this, when the movie theaters reopened here in Florida after the lockdowns and pandemic, they were showing 3 films: Jaws, Empire Strikes Back, and Jurassic Park across Florida. And Empire Strikes Back for like a month was the #1 movie in America.
Really?
Movie in America. Yeah, for a whole month.
I'm not shocked.
And I saw it in the theater with Jeremy and Krista. I think they were they came down for something. Not Krista, it was someone else. Anyway, I saw it in the theater. So, and that was the first time it was open, and I did a video on it, I think on Park Hopping, because it was the first time movie theaters were open. What's it like? And every seat had plastic in between. Like you had to sit. Yeah. So it's like you sat in a seat and the next person was 3 seats down and they had like plastic in between. You were allowed to take your mask off once you sat down. and eat your popcorn and all
I
that
don't
stuff.
want to go back to Crazy World thinking.
No, I'm just saying though,
Ugh.
it was like I gotta watch Empire Strikes Back in the theater again. It was kind of cool.
That's worth it. Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
Oh.
So, how was it?
Yeah.
Considering the circumstances and seeing the world, I was at Universal Studios when I saw that, the theater that was there, because that's why Jeremy was down, because they had just opened Universal Studios and he came down to be a part of that live stream because it was a lot of the other states were still closed. We're still locked down.
Yeah.
A lot of things weren't open, like gyms and stuff like that. And Florida was like kind of one of the first, and the theme park was open, and everybody was like, what is this all like? How's that going to work?
Yeah.
Dude, it was, for what it's worth, that was like some of the best times to go to the theme park.
Empty park.
There's like 6 people there, and everything was spotless. Like they ran the ride like 3 times, and they had to stop, and everybody came out and scrubbed all the seats.
Oh, it was a germaphobe's heaven for you, right?
Oh man, it was great. And then there was no one in line, so it's like we were on the ride, and we just kept riding over and over and over.
That's so sick. I haven't been to Universal since the 1900s.
Yeah. Well, now that you've been playing this Harry Potter game, if you come back to Florida, you got to do Universal and walk into Hogwarts. You will,
in full regalia, cloak.
You will pass out.
Florida. Yeah, it's gonna be way too hot.
So, Ivan says, "Yep, I watched those 3 here in L.A. Jaws, Jurassic Park. Yeah, so those were the ones that for some reason they just released in the theater when it reopened when there was nothing else. So it was pretty cool to see that.
Are you in LA? Oh, that's right. I just
Ivan sent me some pictures. Yeah, he was just at Super Nintendo World, and he sent me some pictures of inside the park, and I'm grateful for him. So he's an awesome theme park vlogger over on the West Coast.
Ivan, are you going to Vegas? I hope you're going to Vegas.
Who, me?
Ivan.
He was at the Orlando meetup.
I'm going to go to the Vegas this year. So if we want to do like a mini X-Wing meetup, because people have been badgering me about it, I say we just, we'll tag it on.
If I end up going to Vegas, which right now it's probably 70-30 that I will be there for the meetup, we got to play some golf.
I would love that.
Here we are talking like we're not live in front of a bunch of people. Star Wars: A New Hope, man. You got to love it.
Gotta love it. And we got more to look at. I mean, A New Hope it's just so classic. So much has already been said. There's so much more that you could say. I mean, you could talk about this movie for 8 hours easily. But I'm looking forward to moving on to Empire Strikes Back, because I think cinematically, or at least from like an iconic standpoint, I think it's probably my favorite movie.
A New Hope should have a special place in everyone's heart if you're a Star Wars fan, whether it's your favorite one or not, just because it was the start of it all.
Yeah.
Just because it was the start of it all.
Star Wars.
Yeah, man. The Star Wars we love. And the memories that we... man, I'd love to like get in if I can get in a time machine to go back on like opening day and watch it with like everybody, seeing it for like the first time, seeing like a movie of that caliber hit the big screen for the first time. Wait, what year? Wait, before we're done. What year did it come out?
77.
All right, hold on. Let's see. Top movies in 19. Like, I think the other blockbuster before that was Jaws, right?
Yeah, that was all kind of in that like super glory period of amazing and iconic classic movies coming out.
All right, here we go. The top grossing movies of 1977. Number 1, of course, Star Wars: A New Hope. Number 2, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh man.
So 2 sci-fi films were like on the and what I'm looking at here, what they made was Star Wars made about $30 million more.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it made 30 million. I'm like, wow.
No. It was like at the 1977 gross, it was about 200 million, which is unheard of,
dude,
back at the time.
Yeah, that's a buttload of money in
Number
1977.
3 was Saturday Night Fever.
Oh man, John Travolta.
Number 4, Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh man, Burt
Reynolds. Number
My mustache is
5,
quivering.
The Goodbye Girl. Never heard of that. Number
I don't know that
6,
one.
In Search of Noah's Ark. Number 7, Oh God. You know what Oh God is?
I've never seen Oh God. I don't know what that is.
It's George Burns. You probably don't even know who that is.
Or if I saw a picture, I'd know.
He's died. He was really old, but he was a seasoned actor. He always smoked cigars, and he played God in these movies. Oh God!
Oh yeah. Okay, I know George.
So that was number 7. A Bridge Too Far. Number 8. Number 9. The
Bridge Too
Deep.
Far is good.
And number 10. The Spy Who Loved Me.
Wow, that low?
For 1977. Yeah.
Wow.
Honorable mention: The Rescuers cartoon from Walt Disney was number 19. The Exorcist 2 was number 23. That's basically it. And Orca, the movie Orca, is number 33.
I don't think I've seen Orca. Is that
It's
the
like
precursor to
a Jaws, like a fake Jaws movie with a killer whale?
I guess that was Roger Moore. That wasn't exactly everybody's favorite Bond.
So that's what was in 1977, and Star Wars was.
What about
number
1980?
1. All right, let's look at that. Top movies in 1980.
Empire.
We got Empire Strikes Back. Nothing was even close. That's number 2 was Stir Crazy with Richard Pryor.
Didn't see that.
Number 3 was Kramer versus Kramer. Never saw that. Number 4 was Airplane. That slapstick comedy.
Oh my God, those are my
Airplane.
favorite.
Number 4. That came out on July 4th. Wow. Number
Airplane?
5, Any Which Way You Can. Don't know that one. Number 6, Private Benjamin. That sounds familiar. Goldie Hawn movie, I think. Number 7, Coal Miner's Daughter. Number 8, Smokey and the Bandit 2.
Oh my God,
Smokey and the Bandit came out every Star Wars film.
I didn't know it was that popular.
Number 9, The Blues Brothers. Number 10,
Nice.
Ordinary People. Honorable mention, number 11, Popeye with Robin Williams.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Number 12, The Blue Lagoon. Number 15, Cheech and Chong's next movie.
Really?
Honorable mention, number 17, Friday the 13th, first movie.
Interesting.
Caddyshack is on that list. Dress to
Caddyshack's
Kill.
classic.
Flash Gordon. The Elephant Man.
love
Anything
Flash
else
Gordon.
that I see? The Search for Christ. I never saw that one. Herbie Goes Bananas. Disney. That's the VW bug,
yeah.
right? And anything else? Oh God, Book 2. So those Oh God movies came out at the
Weird.
same time as Star Wars.
All right, we got to round it out. We can end it on that. Let's round it out. 1983. Yeah, I know, Donna. Me too. Me too.
Top movies
Bro,
of
these were top
1980.
grossing, but suck.
All right, Return of the Jedi, of course. Not even Return of the Jedi is not even nothing. The next movie down is $100 million less,
Oh my God.
and it's Tootsie. It's a movie where Tootsie is a guy who dressed as a woman that went to work as a woman. It was a cross-dressing movie. Tootsie. I forgot who the actor was.
I don't know it.
Number 3 is Flashdance. Number 4, Trading Places with Eddie Murphy.
Nice.
Number 5, War Games with Matthew Broderick, his first
Nice.
movie.
Yeah.
Number 8, Octopussy. There's your Bond film.
There you go.
Number 7, Mr. Mom. Number 8, Staying Alive. Again, another one. Number 9, Risky Business. Tom
Nice.
Cruise makes an appearance.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman played Tootsie. Yeah. Number 10, National Lampoon's Vacation. Number 11, Superman 3.
Really?
Wow. Number 18, these are honorable mentions. Jaws
Not much has
3D.
changed for DC.
Number 21, E.T.
Wow. I guess that's one of those cult classics, huh?
E.T. was the number 1 movie in 1982. It was so
Oh,
popular
okay.
they re-released it the next year. Number 22, Porky's 2.
Porky's.
Easy Money is on that list. The Dark Crystal, An Officer and a Gentleman. A Christmas Story is on that list.
That's one
It's
of your
number
favorites.
47. Who knew that was going to be such a... I want to read one last list to you, and then we'll be done. All right.
Okay.
That's basically it.
Laura Lynn Lance for $2 says, hi, X-Wing, hi, Drunk, smooches and hugs.
Hey, how
Back
are
at
you?
you, Laura.
The greatest year of movies of all time. 1985.
Okay.
Listen to this list. All right.
Ready.
Number 1, Back to the Future.
Banger.
Number 2, Rambo, First Blood Part 2.
Another banger.
Number 3, Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh my God.
Number 4, Rocky 4. Number 5, Cocoon. Witness. That's ever seen Witness?
Mm-mm.
Han Solo, one of Han Solo's greatest films ever.
Really? No, I don't know.
Witness. He's a cop. He goes undercover and he has to become an Amish person to solve a murder.
Oh my God.
It was awesome.
Really? I'll have to
Yeah,
watch it.
Witness. Harrison Ford, Witness, dude. Freaking epic movie. It's a freaking epic thriller. You'll love it. Number 8, The Goonies.
Nope.
Police Academy, Fantasia, A View to a Kill, National Lampoon's European Vacation, Fletch, The Breakfast Club, Spies Like Us, Mask, Pee-wee Herman's Big Adventure.
The Mask was 1985?
Yeah.
Is that The Mask? I thought that was in the 90s.
Mask, it's this is not the Jim Carrey movie.
Okay,
Mask
okay.
is a kid that was born with a deformity
Uh-huh.
and he ended up dying. Yeah, it
Ooh.
was with Cher. She won like an Academy Award for it.
Oh.
Brewster's Millions, Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome, St. Elmo's
Ooh,
Fire, Silverado, Commando, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Teen Wolf, Amadeus, The Last Dragon. If you haven't seen any of those films, you're missing out. Summer Rental with John Candy is on that
I
list.
know that one.
Indiana Jones is not on this list. I think it was like the year after.
Oh, with Rocky Dennis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Weird Science, Every Boy's First Boner.
Yeah.
You ever see that?
Yeah.
See, as soon as I said Weird Science, X-Wing started, his face went, yeah.
I remember that. Disgusting and misogynistic. Disgusting.
Mission in Action 2, that's a Chuck Norris film. Pretty awesome. Like these movies, like look at the amount of amazing films that came out in 1985.
Yeah. There was a golden age there for a while.
Are you kidding me? You had your pick. Back to the Future, Rambo, Beverly Hills Cop. Look, a black actor is in the top 5. Eddie Murphy. Cocoon had senior citizens and it was ranked. Have you ever seen Cocoon?
I haven't seen Cocoon.
You know what it's about?
No.
So some aliens were buried in the bottom of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And the aliens came down to save their friends. So they put them in this pool, the cocoon in the pool. And when the senior citizens swam in it, they got younger.
Oh.
And so they were like, they got all this energy and they got all this stuff. Like it was such a, and then like the government found out that they were aliens, and it's a pretty good movie. So
You know, check that out.
look at everyone in the chat. They're like, Last Dragon. When was Commando? 85. I see. That's what we're missing. You got sci-fi on that list. You got Toxic Masculinity, the one dude with a gun. There's 2 movies on that list, Rambo and Commando. They just kill everybody. Goonies, one of my all-time favorite. I got the tattoo. Crazy stuff, man.
I kind of came up more with like the Charlie Sheens and Hot Shots and Major League and those kind of comedies. Those are my absolute favorite. They were just spoofing on those amazing 80s action movies. Those were kind of my
They were
favorites.
Hot Shots was awesome.
Yeah, Hot Shots is amazing, and Hot Shots Part Deuce was amazing
They
too.
were freaking awesome, man. I loved Hot Shots.
I just watched Hot Shots Part 2 like 2 nights ago. It's just so good.
You saw
And
the
then
first
knowing
one?
how gnarly Charlie Sheen got at the end of it was freaking hilarious.
Charlie Sheen was like
Dude's yoked.
jacked.
Yeah,
Holy
dude.
crap. He must have been on every steroid available. He was so big. Who was that girl that was in that? She was like,
oh my gosh, dude.
she
had
was
the
hot
little,
and
the little
but
freckle.
she was in one of Tom Cruise's films too. That
Was that 2 or 1? I don't remember. Where he's the Indian in the opening. You remember that? And the chief is like all quiet, and he's like, "What?" Takes his Walkman off.
oh man, it was so good.
Classic film. All right, guys, we got to get going. I have enjoyed this. Looking back on how glorious things used to be, I've enjoyed it thoroughly. There's still 47 people in here, which is absolutely insane. You just got 2 people talking about movie rankings. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please leave a like if you can. I appreciate all of you being here, interacting with the chat. As always, chat has been the most amazing part of this stream.
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back next Friday. We're going to see you there. I think there's going to be a lot of good, heated topics and conversations. We're going to be in it for a minute. So I look forward to having everybody
2
there.
hours
Jay,
and 15 minutes. Congratulations, X-Wing.
yeah, I know. I finally got you a stream that you'd be proud of the timestamp on. Thank you for being here, buddy. Everybody say thank you to Jay for spending his time with us here in the Hangar Bay. I appreciate it. Everybody have a wonderful night. Oh.
Tomorrow my book drops at 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
Where
Love
can we
it if
find
y'all would pick it up. And I will be streaming on the Drunk3PO channel at 5 p.m. The book drops like 15-20 minutes after that. And thank you for making my dreams a reality.
Where can we find the book, though?
It will be available on Indiegogo. I will have the links ready when the site is ready. Right now, we put the site out, and now it's all ready. It's like generating everything, so you can go buy it there. You can buy a book. You can give a book to a child that can't afford it. It doesn't have any of that craziness that we see in children's books today.
Yeah,
it's a passion project of love that it took almost 3.5 years to finally get it done. So we're going to be talking a lot about that on my stream tomorrow, and I hope everyone picks it up and enjoys it for what it's worth.
Good.
So
I want to see everybody over there. I'm going to be over there checking it out for sure. Buy a copy. I'm going to buy one. Maybe I'll do a review of the book on my channel.
That'd be awesome.
All right, everybody. Have
Thanks,
a good night. Thank you so much. We will see you guys later. May the force be with you always.